Angie Tran and Bernard Law. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having us, Bora.
Yes, thank you.
Excited to have two co-founders on the podcast today. So, Angie and Bernard, I don't know who wants to go first, but I'd love to know about the first moment that you came up with the idea for Kind Laundry, and how did it get developed over time?
Yeah, so Angie and I were both life partners as well. So we do business together. We live in the same household. So of course, here and there's going to be like certain arguments about what are we doing for the rest of our life. So before Kind Laundry, we were in the e-commerce space since 2016, 2017. That's where we learned about like Facebook ads, Google, Amazon, just everything on e-commerce, how to work with suppliers overseas. And at that time, we were just trying to figure things out, like just selling like, I guess, random products online and figuring out the space. And then one day we're just kind of like, again, just talking about life, like what do we want to do for the rest of life and sort of leave that legacy behind. Because like a lot of the I guess some of the products maybe like it doesn't really align with our vision and like us as people. So one day Angie and I were just like sitting in our living room in the kitchen at home, and we're like, we need to do something that we're proud of, that we want to even pass down to our children once we get older. And we went to work into like searching for this product, because at the end of the day we both love and enjoy selling physical products. And then Angie came across laundry detergent sheets that they've been selling in Asia for over a decade already. And then as soon as she ordered the sample in, got shipped to our house, and we both looked at it, and it just turned on all types of light bulbs for us, because we thought we can make it a more sustainable packaging. And because now we have experience working with manufacturers, since 2017, we know how to make the product, we can improve on the product as well. And it aligns with everything that we live for, just having zero waste, health and wellness. So immediately when we both looked at it, we knew that was like something that we're going to be very passionate about for many, many years to come.
Well, one thing sticks out to me. I'm always very curious about the research component. So you said that Angie was looking for things and came across this laundry sheets in Asia that's been going on. How did that happen? But even before we get to that, I want to rewind a little bit. You were both in e-commerce prior to coming up with the Kind Laundry concept, and developed some experience in international manufacturing. What was it before? Was it related to laundry or cleaning, or was it completely separate?
Yeah, it was very completely separate. So we did beauty. We were in the beauty space at one point, and then at one point we were in the kitchen space, and another point we were in supplements. So they're all very different, but the principle still is the same. Um, Back in the day, before the internet and obviously Alibaba, it's hard to source products because you had to go to convention centers and trade shows and meet suppliers and look at products. But because when we did e-commerce before, it was a dropship model. So that model was that you would find and source products online via, for example, Alibaba, and you'll test it. So you can buy a small quantity for like 10, 20, etc. You can tweak it as well according to yourself. You'll pay extra for it to make it unique for yourself, and then you can test it in the market. So that's exactly what happened with ours when we came across the detergent sheets. It was actually in Japan and Korea for quite some time because they're smaller spaces, but it wasn't exactly what we wanted in terms of the way it was packaged. It was like in plastic, and you take it out, there's like a lot of little tweezer that's in plastic. There's like a lot of plastic happening. And then also the formulation wasn't so great either. So we took that concept, we reached out to manufacturer using Alibaba.com, at least for physical products. That's kind of like where we normally used to source all of our products. And then we brainstormed with them on how to make it better. So repackaging it, reformulating it later on though. So in the beginning, we didn't want to spend too much money on something that we weren't sure. So to test the market, we'll negotiate like a smaller quantity with like, that's in this case, like we call it like the minimal viable product. So maybe we can change the packaging and just feel out what people would say. So that's how we started discovering the product and how we start to buy our first order.
Yeah. So what was your minimum order quantity to like what kind of risk did you think was acceptable, not knowing if this was going to be a hit?
That was a great question. I think we ordered 500 units. Yeah, to start off with.
And that was possible because normally I ask this question to founders and I hear numbers like 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 at the
Yes,
smallest.
so that's what they start off at. But if you're buying something that's like already on the market, like private label, with minimal changes, you could go back and forth, and they expect you to go back and forth to negotiate with them. And also depends on the factory as well and how big they are. So in the beginning, I would have an Excel sheet, a list of like maybe like 20 manufacturers, and I'll mass like send out inquiries to all of them. And that's a good test and filter too, because the ones that respond back pretty fast, I filter them. I was like, okay, the other ones that didn't respond back, I wouldn't want to do business with them anyways. So then I'll continue to filter it down. I filter it down to maybe two in terms of communication, and then from the two, the one that's willing to work with us. So give us a lower MOQ and help us repackage or do something unique with our packaging for a cost. Yeah.
So the curious about the back and forth. How many iterations did you go through, and what was happening during the iterations? What were you changing? What were you not happy with that you wanted to keep going back and forth?
So Bernard, do you want to talk about the packaging, like the tray concept?
Yeah, so initially the back and forth was really, and by the way, just to add to that last question as well, because maybe some of your audience has never worked with manufacturers in China before, but if you put yourself in their shoes, they get like hundreds of inquiries every single day from all sorts of different random people. So that's why like they put an MOQ out there. It's really just a filter out a lot of tire kickers, right? But as soon as you show them a deck, you show them you're a serious business, the culture there is really they want to build a long-term relationship and not have like a one-off business with you. So if you can present to them like what your potentially your business plan is, what your trajectory is going to be, your branding, like how you're going to launch this product and all that, that actually gives you more power to negotiate for a lower MOQ.
Oh, it's so interesting.
Yeah, versus you just right off the bat and say like, hey, I just whatever you're presenting to me, I want to lower that by like
Do,
100%,
do
right?
people know about this, or do you just know about this? Is it a secret?
We test it a lot because we actually also fly to China or Asia quite a bit. And when you fly there, you spend time with them and you understand what they value. So they value building relationship. So they get excited when you show them like a deck or presentation as well. So yeah. And not a lot of people do that. So that's kind of like our edge.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and we find that the culture there is a little different than in North America, like the way you do business. They always at least want to see your face on camera. Again, right? It's the biggest manufacturing country in the world. Everything gets manufactured out of China. So again, you can just imagine like the influx of inquiries that they get. So any FaceTime they can get with them, talking to them on the phone. Angie and I, like once we develop that relationship with our current suppliers, like we just fly there and like just see them in person, have lunch with them. And in fact, once you get there, they actually spend more time just hanging out with you and just having like lunch and dinner and just doing like just casual things with you than talking about business. And then you kind of you leave the business discussion towards like the end of your trip. Because that's like the type of relationship that they want to build with you is that long-term relationship. But yeah, back to the question that you just asked us, like in terms of like the back and forth, because again, like we already have experience, like, and we know what we want in this product in terms of branding. So we're very specific in terms of like packaging, how we want to like package this Kind Laundry brand, make it stand out from our competition. So we're looking at different options, and of course, as a company, you also got to take some risk into like, okay, do you want like a smaller packaging, a packaging that's like looks better on shelf for customers? So those are all like a lot of business decisions you have to make, because some of these decisions can actually cost you more money than what your manufacturer has originally quoted you. So yeah, I think you just got to figure out like what kind of like audience you're trying to target, and what kind of price point that you're trying to sell this at as well. So there's a lot of, I guess, like initial decisions that you have to consider, especially during this negotiation part. But yeah, I think that there a lot of that back and forth, just really understanding every single small little tweak that you're making is affecting that cost that they're giving you. Yeah.
Still curious about the idea to product stage here. So you discovered that the laundry sheet concept is unique to some of the Asian countries that doesn't exist in America. Were you looking for something like that? Like, let me find something unique and original that doesn't exist here. I know that you have the kind of sustainability angle to match your values, and were you kind of looking at once you at least narrowed it down to the laundry space? Were you then taking a look at, okay, these are the existing products in the market, so let's find a very strong differentiator here? Like, I like talking about positioning. I'm very, always thinking sometimes talking about positioning changes the whole company, even if the product is the same, So how were you thinking about that?
Yeah, so as Bernard stated, we were into health and wellness. So we actually had like an Excel sheet with all the products we sold in the past that we would like to perhaps create a brand around. So before the detergent sheet, the runner up was like a running belt where you put your phone in as well, because that did very, very well to walk in as well. But it wasn't, when we looked at the long-term strategy, when you buy that belt for running, it's not, like you don't buy it again for a while unless you want like different colors. Whereas like a lot of the criteria that we wanted for a product was sustainability. So like if it's a subscription, can they come back monthly or every
Like
couple of months to
refills. Yeah.
refill? Exactly. So that's
Yeah.
number one. Number two was it was when we launched it was around COVID time. So a lot of people were stuck at home and they're questioning about everything in their home. So like, is it toxic? It's not toxic. They're trying to be healthier because unfortunately people around them were getting sick as well during that period. Or during that period, a lot of people are having babies. So they want to buy non-toxic items for kids. So it's just perfect timing when we saw this item. It just clicked. It's like it's small, compact, lightweight. It's like a refill. And then it just also matches with like today's demand, which is eco-friendly products that's non-toxic. So that's how we made our decision. So we had like a list of criteria that we want to check off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, it sounds like educating the customers, you talked about getting the feedback because like switching from liquid detergent to sheets seems like a big change for American consumers. So, educating people, usually it's an entrepreneurship advice that like if you have to teach people how to do something, you're losing or something, I don't know. But maybe if it's a new category, you have to educate people. Did you find that frustrating in the beginning that people just don't know this and they're kind of like afraid of the concept that they're unfamiliar with, or were they embracing it? Oh, this is new and cool and super unique, and people are jumping on it. Like, what was the initial feedback from people?
Yeah, I
Surprisingly,
think even till
yeah.
yeah, even till today, it's still a challenge for us, product education. We do a lot of in-person demos in grocery stores like Whole Foods, and Angie and I actually do a lot of those on our own, and
Well,
we love it.
how do you get those? Does Whole Foods have to accept you first, or do you just go and say, hey, like, can I just demo some stuff to some people?
Oh no, we're listed in Whole Foods, so it was a process to get into them, to read their shelf, and then once you get into their shelf, you can work with their demo third party team to hire
Yeah,
people to demo for you. But this is the only chance we get to be on the floor to talk to customers face to face, so we do it ourselves in the beginning
got you.
to get feedback.
Right. So yeah, just by talking to customers, I would say maybe half of them has never heard of detergent sheets before, or the other half might have used like some form of detergent sheet from other brands before. So I would say, we're sort of surprised that people are very acceptance of the format of it, the sheet format, because of the convenience feature of it. But obviously, there still needs to be education as to like what makes all the different sheets and different brands different. So yes, product education till this day for us is still a little bit of a challenge. It is a new format. Obviously we have liquid that's been around for decades now. Then the next iteration of that is pods, which everyone's familiar with. But we truly believe sheets is going to be the next generation that hopefully is going to take over pods very soon because it's liquidless, it's very convenient. You can travel with it, not have any issues when traveling with going through TSA. Um, but people still are not. It's still very foreign to them because when they think of a sheet, they think of drying, and sometimes it's really funny. Like we'll still be talking to a customer at these like demo shows, and then by the end of it, they're like, "Oh, okay, so I put this in my dryer, right?" And we're like, "No, no, no,
It
it's a
seems that
lot."
people know about the dryer sheets, but they don't know about
Exactly.
the, yeah, uh-huh.
Exactly. So, but we definitely find that there is a market out there, and of course, that's why our company's still around after 4 years now, and continue to grow. And the category is still growing as well. So, I think people are looking for alternative solutions because if you look at every single aisle in the grocery store, there's a more sustainable and like better for you option out there. But the laundry aisle is one that hardly innovated in the last couple of decades. It's still filled with like plastic jugs of liquid or pods. And I think this is a very exciting time like for brands like us to come into this category, disrupt it, and offer something that's truly zero waste and better for consumers.
But we
So
knew we had
go
something
ahead,
though.
Angie.
We knew we had something. So I want to take that back. That's why I understand your customer is so important because we knew that we're not trying to target the masses. We're trying to target someone that's like into eco-friendly, non-toxic products. So when we first launched, we thought we're gonna have to educate a lot more than we needed to. So Bernard took out his iPhone and he filmed me using the product and like washing the clothes by hand in like a bucket of water with our detergent. And we use that as our Facebook ad. So like you don't have to spend a lot of money in the beginning when you test. You can use your phone. And the phone that today's phone has like pretty good quality camera. So he put that against a bit of money against on Facebook and it actually did really well. Like I think back then when Facebook used to be cheaper to advertise on. So we got quite a bit of sales with with minimal education. And I think it's because we hit it the right market. And then that's when we knew we had something for sure. So it depends on who you market to.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I imagine this Facebook test of Bernard shooting you and running a test ad, that was probably, I imagine, prior to placing larger orders. Maybe you were kind of encouraged by the fact that if this message is resonating, maybe we can just scale it up or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um, I want to find out how you went from 0 to 100 sales. I imagine, so we kind of jumped forward to Whole Foods, but I imagine you started on DTC. But what other channels? What was the trajectory during the 4 years? Maybe Amazon, other retail. You mentioned some demo shows. Were you doing any kinds of local? I don't know if this would make sense at a farmer's market, but a lot of people kind of test things at farmers markets type, places. How did you kind of go through that journey?
In the beginning, when you're trying to get your first 100 sales, you're desperate, so you do anything. So DTC is definitely the first one, which is on Shopify. We use Shopify, our website. And then I went knocking. That was also during COVID. Literally physically went to different local retailers, like you said, in farmer markets, and asked the buyer and convinced them to like take us on, even on consignment, to test the product, which they did, and we're still there today. And then once we got a bit of traction because people like are trying the product, they love it, they come back. Amazon actually reached out to us. So in the beginning, because we didn't have a lot of budget and a huge team, we were creating a lot of organic content on Instagram. So so a lot of buyers from Amazon and even retail stores, they go there discover new products, and that's also before TikTok blew up. So we got a lot of inbound inquiries about having us on their platform. So they put us on in a program where they can launch us on climate pledge friendly. So they're trying to bring in more brands on the platform that's like eco friendly. So we entered the program and we kind of like did pretty well. through that platform. So that's how we got to Amazon. And then through there, slowly we got to Whole Foods and like other bigger retailers too. So it's kind of like a ripple effect. But yeah.
So it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, but Kind Laundry uses only four main ingredients derived from plants. Is that correct?
That's correct. So we don't have four. We actually have more than four now because we iterated our formulation and made it optimize it to make it better. I think two or three times since we launched. So today we added, so everything's plant-based. We don't use any animal byproducts or tests on animals. And then we don't have any harsh chemicals like conventional detergent does. And then the main thing that we did add recently was enzymes to take away stains and also premium plant-based ingredients like kaolin, Camellia japonica, sunflower seed oils. These ingredients are normally used on like face cream or in beauty products because they cleanse very, like it's a very gentle cleanser, but it's also antibacterial. So we'll take these like higher end ingredients, but we'll put into laundry because as you know, of a father of a little baby, sometimes you have to hand wash a lot of their clothes on a daily basis. So we want to make sure that's gentle on the skin if someone does choose to hand wash their clothes as well, whether they're traveling or for their kids, etc. So yeah.
Yeah, our toddler is super interested in laundry these days. I actually told him I have a podcast recording today with a company called Kind Laundry. And he got very curious about that. What is Kind Laundry? Dada, is it like a different laundry? What is that? Because he loves like putting stuff in the laundry now. That's his new, exciting phase that he's going through.
That's so cute.
So since you're both digital marketers, I'm kind of curious about how you're gauging demand for. Like yesterday, I had a conversation with a founder who is building a different kind of a cologne, but she was running SEO research on the ingredients people were searching for, like patchouli and things like that. And then she was kind of gauging demand based on the ingredients people are searching for, and then deciding on, what kind of sense to kind of develop based on the existing demand there. How does that translate into your thinking?
B, do you want to take this one?
Oh, you can take this one. Is innovation. So this is all you.
Yeah, so just to be clear, we don't have like a chemistry background, but what we do a lot, and this is why we love being able to have direct access to your community, is we ask them like, what's important to you? Like, is it cleaning performance? Is it eco-friendliness? Is it non-toxic ingredients? And once we get that feedback, which is to us to this day, it's cleaning performance. Even though they said that they wanted an eco-friendly product, if you're going to buy a laundry product, you want it to clean your clothes properly. But at the same time, ideally, if it doesn't have these harsh chemicals, that's the most important. So we actually hired a chemist that used to work at Unilever, like a big CPG company, to consult with them
How did you find that person?
on LinkedIn. So I would scrape through LinkedIn and I actually reached out to quite a few. A lot of them don't get back to you, which is normal. It's okay. One of them actually said, no, I'm not interested, which is okay. So, but we got lucky that one of them did say, I actually retired from Unilever and Clorox, and I am looking to partner up with smaller brands and businesses.
Oh, so
So,
people should be looking for retired chemists.
yes,
I happen to have this how did you find a chemist conversation with a lot of people.
yeah.
Sometimes Breaking Bad comes up.
Oh, true. But yeah, so in this case, it's not like through Breaking Bad, it's through LinkedIn. So that's lucky. And pretty much, yeah, so I connected to her and she said she's willing to help out. But interestingly enough, like these chemists, although they do have their value in their experience, like confirming the ingredients and what it does, um, for me, I just feel like you still have to do your own research. So I actually joined a lot of webinars, industry webinars from like raw ingredient manufacturers. And like a lot of these times in the webinars is actually chemists in it. But I want to understand like market trends, what ingredients is happening right now, what kind of ingredients are coming out that is trending right now as well. So then I'll bring all this information to her and then she'll help me kind of figure it out. So at the end of the day, you have to always be out there to be resourceful, constantly research like what could be an interesting combination ingredients for performance, because the chemist won't do it for you. They'll only do what you ask them to do. So I'll give you an example specifically. We found out that there's this special enzyme that an average person wouldn't understand, but this enzyme takes away like sweat and grime and odor from your clothes, and it's all natural. So this is like a new enzyme that this big raw ingredient producer launched, but I only found out about it because I put my name on a list, a newsletter of this raw ingredient manufacturer. So I would bring that to the chemist, and the chemist was like, "Oh, I never actually heard about that. That's really cool. Maybe we can do this with the manufacturer." So I'll connect all the raw ingredient manufacturers and innovative ingredients together with the chemist and also our factory. So I'm like kind of like the middle person coordinating this with everyone. So that's kind of like our relationship right now and how it works.
I saw Kind Laundry has eliminated over 500,000 single-use plastic jugs so far. That's incredible. How do you track and measure this kind of impact? Because it seems to me being able to talk about stuff like this must be really valuable for the company.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're glad to say it's a lot more than that now, that number, which we need to update. But it's very easy to track because we sell, a very conventional load of, a very conventional detergent jug that you buy in your grocery store is a 60 load. So one of our boxes is a 60 load size. So pretty much every single box that we sell is pretty much replacing one detergent jug that someone would normally buy. So it's really just based on the number of units that we have, transacted, and that would have went into the landfill. But instead is now all paper cardboard that it could be like recycled and biodegradable. Yeah.
I'd love to hear about what kind of marketing channels work for you and what channels don't really make an impact.
Honestly, that changes like every year. Nowadays, probably changes every month. But for us, like Meta is still one of our main channels. When I say Meta, that's Facebook and Instagram. Just like for paid advertising. Google has always been like serving us on the back end because like a lot of customers don't convert right away. Seeing us on Meta, that's usually the first touch point. And then Google is usually when someone just wants to verify you, do more research on you, right? And then our ad shows up there. And of course, there's new platforms that pop up throughout the years, which is TikTok, for example. But we all know TikTok also serves a very different age demographic, younger audience, etc. So they may or may not be our audience, but we're always exploring. And then there's also so many different ways to create landing pages and creating a funnel. It gets extremely complicated. That's why for us as an e-commerce business, like this process never stops, and keeping ourselves like just educated and what kind of tools and resources are out there. It's always something that never stops for our entire team. In fact, Angie and I don't even have any prior to this any digital marketing experience. Like we came from very traditional advertising background. That's what we went to school for as well. And when we first started in e-commerce, we just went on YouTube just to learn, how to do Facebook, how to do Google ads. Until this day, we're still purchasing courses and just keeping up with times, right?
What was the last course you purchased? What are you trying to learn right now?
Oh man, we're just learning how to just do business in general. And so the last course that we purchased was a Tony Robbins course called Business Mastery, where it's like a 5-day boot camp seminar that goes for like 16 hours a day. And it teaches you everything from like HR, how to manage a team, to finance, to marketing. So yeah.
How big is your team right now?
To be honest, like it fluctuated throughout the years, and we also noticed that has to do with, I guess, the workforce is a little different now. Pre-COVID, during COVID, and now post-COVID. So that strategy also changed for us a little bit. So we try also not to hire a lot of people like under payroll or in-house, and tend to like hire more like vendors and agencies to work for us now. Obviously there's pros and cons of both, but we find that at least in today's economy, as of 2024 right now, people are very used to working from home. There's a lot of demands that people want, for working with a company, and sometimes it doesn't really benefit us as a growing company. Whereas an agency or a freelancer, a lot of times like their performance is what dictates if their contract's going to continue or not. So we find that at least for now, freelancers and vendors is what's working out for us.
Angie, I saw something about local run clubs and Lululemon ambassadors. How did those come about? And do those kinds of local grassroots partnerships work well for you?
Yes, I think that whether it's online digitally or like in person, we noticed that after we spoke to a lot of our actual customers, because I'm still in the inbox respond back to each customer just to kind of learn more about how they heard about us. A lot of them, I would say like 8 out of 10 said that I heard about you from a friend, a roommate, or family member, which is interesting. So the power, like word of mouth, it's still very important for at least Kind Laundry. So what we did instead, other depending on Facebook, is grassroots style. I started this summer joining a lot of like local fitness communities. Lululemon is incredible at doing this. They actually have like on the ground level a lot of ambassadors, and then they give them free clothes and items and discounts, and then they kind of rally people out in their community. So I'll just connect with each ambassador, and then when they have the event, I'll show up to their event, be part of the event as well, and then also gift them our product. So, because they're wearing Lululemon, it's expensive, they want to wash it, so they can wash it with their detergent sheet, which will elongate. So that's how that partnership came about. But through that, other things that we did too, other than working with local communities, is getting on TV, which is very traditional. So we were featured on Good Morning America not too long ago. That gave us a couple thousand new customers, just like literally 5 minutes of airtime. So that's a great way to put ourselves in front of a new audience as well. So we're going to come back and do probably more segments with them, or like very similar TV shows. And then we were exploring direct mail too, because everyone is like bombarded with email. So they just kind of like maybe not read them as much, but like we're trying to explore maybe like going back to direct mail
Yeah,
and test that
yeah.
out.
For the creators who are listening and watching, do you do any creator influencer collaborations? If so, what do you look for in the creators that would be a good match for Kind Laundry?
Yeah, someone that's able to understand hooks and explain our product in a very entertaining way. Because a lot of people they don't want to be sold to, so they can tell that story or kind of figure out like create content that resonates with them. So I'll give you an example. Like one of the creators actually had like a skin issue, eczema. So her hook was like, what do you do if you had sensitive skin? And then she would educate people about conventional detergent versus using something less harsh. So a creator that understands how to draw people in and also create content that's shareable as well. So, but in the beginning, we actually worked with an agency. And then so every single month, they'll give us like a long list of creators that we'll look at. And then we go through each one, look at their profile, and approve or reject the influencer based on like their current content. So we'll choose one that we feel that hit those criterias. And then once we approve them, we ship them maybe probably 20 to 30 products out a month for free to try. And then they'll post about their experience, their honest experience. So we don't pay them to say good things. We like just share whether it's good or bad, what your honest experience is. And then that's how we work with them in the beginning. So
And
yeah,
and just to
yeah.
add to that as well, like that's why it's very important for you to understand like who your ideal customer is, like your customer
And
avatar.
who's your ideal customer?
I think it's kind of changes year over year as well, which is not that is weird, but like I guess laundry detergent because everyone does it, so like it does reach a lot of people. But it was always someone that's like a little older, which we were surprised. Someone that's like 55 plus, retired, kids all moved out and stuff like that. That was the I guess bulk majority of our audience. But now we're trying to skew a little younger again, especially now because we're trying to advertise on Meta and Instagram, which we kind of get why that audience is a little older. So, and back to your question, who do we choose as our content creator or influencer? I think it also needs to match that, right? Because like if you have an older audience and you obviously want to work with someone that's also older as well, because they're trying to speak to your audience. Because you can imagine like someone that's like in their 60s, right? And then you have this teenager try to speak to them, like it's not very convincing. Or vice versa, right? A teenager doesn't want to listen to like their grandmother try to preach to them, like. So I think having that audience that has like the same lifestyle, same age, same life experience, it's a lot more convincing to talk to like your ideal customer.
Knowing what you know now, based on all the other brands you worked at prior to starting Kind Laundry and 4 years of building this brand, if you wanted to start a new brand now, what would you do?
I would say not that we didn't do it right in the beginning, but I think looking at our numbers closely right in the beginning is very important, like understanding cash flow, understanding how to read a P&L, a balance sheet, because we did learn that a lot of businesses, they fail not because of a bad product or service. Most of them fail because they don't know their numbers. And you need to know these numbers because eventually if you want to talk to investors, you talk to the bank, you always got to have access to capital. These all are, and I'm sure a lot of your audience, they watched Shark Tank before. They all want you to know your numbers inside out. So that's something that we knew in the beginning, but because we're operating in so many and wearing so many different hats, we just didn't have the time to look at it until maybe a year later. But that's something that I would highly recommend a young entrepreneur or someone just get started is like, don't neglect your numbers and just know it since day one.
I should have been a little clearer. What kind of product would you pick, like in terms of a category?
Like if we didn't have Kind Laundry, right, and we had to do it again.
Right. If you're starting, or maybe you're starting a new one, it's turning into an empire now. So you want to start a new type of brand, but maybe it doesn't have to be laundry, but something else. You figured, like this, if we start something like this, it's gonna blow up. What would that be?
Oh, there's so many products that I've come across. It definitely has to be in health and wellness, in the personal care space as well, and in a space where like you always need to replenish. So I don't know, maybe it could be like a unique like deodorant, or that's actually very saturated. I don't know, yeah, but like something in health and wellness and personal care, because that's our passion. Creating something that's safer for people and that's kind to the planet.
Bernard, do you have a different answer?
I don't, because I know, like, just based on past life experience, whatever I launch is going to fail. So I don't want to name anything and get all depressed about it. Right now, Kind Laundry is doing very well for us, so I will just continue selling laundry detergent.
Final two-part question. Top 2 problems giving you a headache right now, and top 2 priorities you're excited about for the year.
Top 2 headaches, it's finding talent has always been a challenge for us, something that we're still learning and working on. And I think I mentioned this about like 2 questions ago, but like just understanding like the current environment, the work culture, and adapting to it, and changing our I guess company culture to also work within it, has been a challenge. So we're still working through that. Number 2, I think I prematurely answered a question about knowing our numbers. Is something that we're still working on. And again, just signing up ourselves up, again, potentially for an investment opportunity. Right now, we're still fully self-funded, but just getting all our numbers in place. 2 things that we're excited for is just having a new brand positioning this coming new year. We can't talk too much about it right now, but just expect some new scent that's going to come down a pipeline for us, and for us to turn laundry into a ritual of self-care, And what that means to us is really having people look at laundry not just another household item, another cleaning product like you would see a floor cleaner or a toilet cleaner and is boring, but something that you're very excited to purchase and makes you look forward to do your laundry again.
Oh, that's interesting that you said a ritual of self-care. You know, like some people say that cleaning is like meditation for them. Along those lines, I guess you're thinking.
Yeah, because it's such a mundane task, especially laundry. No one likes to do it, especially folding laundry. So if you create, like Bernard said, sneak peek, but if you do have beautiful scents that you get excited about, that when you smell it after laundry makes you feel, happy or joyful, hopefully we can turn to like a ritual, a self-care. All those mundane could be like a meditation because you can listen to a podcast and smell this beautiful scent, knowing that your also laundry is clean and safe for your family too. So we're trying to create an experience,
Yeah.
yeah, with our products.
And you also have the new product that you're excited about?
Yes. We can't show it to you now because we're like in the middle of like finalizing all the details. But we actually have two that's in the market, fragrance free and Ocean Breeze. The reason why Ocean Breeze does very well because most detergent on the market is like they use cheap fragrance. So once you wash and dry it, the smell kind of goes away. Unless you buy Tide and it's extremely overwhelming. You can smell someone, like when you like just walk past them, you can smell that smell. It's detergent. So for us, we use this special technology, it's like a capsule to wrap around the fragrance oil. So once you wash and dry it, it still lasts. And even when you have friction or you move into it, you can still smell, but it's not overwhelming. It's very, very subtle. So we're going to incorporate that into 5 new scents next year. And those 5 new scents is inspired by luxury like scent in the market that normally costs like $300 to $400 a bottle. But we're able to replicate something very similar, but in a laundry format. So you don't have to go out and spend $400 for bottle laundry. And then this is actually in the market this is not detergent, but this is scent boosters. So currently right now there is the Downy Unstoppables that's very popular. It makes your laundry smell really good, but they're also highly toxic because it has PEG in it, which is kind of like a form of plastic. Our version is not only is it recyclable, everything that we make is recyclable, there's no plastic, but also it's made from only one plant-based ingredient, which is corn.
Oh,
So anyone that buys any products from our company, they know that all the packaging is always recyclable. There's no plastic components. And number two, it's all plant-based. We don't test on animals. And then number three, we're removing as much harsh, unnecessary chemicals in our formulations as much as possible. So they have peace of mind. They're having a cleaner product for their laundry solutions. Yeah.
Angie Tran, Bernard Law, thank you for sharing your journey with me.
Our
Thank you so
pleasure.
much
Thank
for
you so
having
much
me.
for having us.